4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. So welcome to the second and final game of the week. It's a game called Debris, and how we want to quantify this game kind of, I suppose, depends on your perspective. It's a submarine adventure game. Um, so I've seen some reviews call it a walking simulator. Sort of.
Yeah, it's some parts are basically a walking simulator. I'll give them that.
It looks like it's more interactive than most walking simulators.
Yeah, it's like you are not just going through tunnels and listening to the characters speak by any means. First of all, it's also a survival game, although maybe not survival in quite the same way as, say, Subnautica. But yeah, there is a real-time timer, how much power you have left. That ticks down in real time every second of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And if that goes down to 0, you're dead. And co-op is a big focus, especially now because so the game came out late last year, but its co-op mode got released just a few days ago. I think this was another Tuesday release or something about it. And yeah, that's kind of how we got the codes. They're showcasing, or they're really promoting the co-op mode. And having played the game in both single player mode and co-op mode, I will say that the game is better in co-op mode.
Oh yeah.
If only because the AI is kind of stupid. No, I'm like, Petty Fan here definitely made for a better energy retriever than the AI. Like, I think any human would make a better retriever because they know how to dodge fish. Yeah, there is also. I hesitate to use the word combat because I guess in the loosest possible terminology, it's combat, but you're shooting fish. They're aggressive fish, and they'll sap power if you get too close, but they're still fish. Like, they're, it's not much of a battle, if I'm being honest. Well, except for the fact that shooting in this game is fucking terrible. I'll be honest.
Which makes sense for trying to shoot underwater, honestly, but...
Well, it's not just the fact that actual aiming is god-awful. It's the fact that if you shoot a projectile, it takes 3 minutes of health away. That is not an insignificant amount.
What are you using, Captain Nemo's electric bullets?
Apparently. I'm like...
That's a new one.
Look, I understand bullets.
No, that's an old-ass one. That is a legit thing from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah. It's some sort of energy. But it takes 3 minutes of health. And the maximum amount of health time you can have at any one point is about 75 minutes. So basically shooting the fish isn't worth it. You just kind of have to hope your partner is smart enough to grab the debris. So because the way you keep power is player 2 is the power source is called debris. That's where the name comes from. It's
Alien
from like
rock still
yeah,
emitting energy after it crashed down. That whole thing.
yeah, and it's mutating the life around it.
Hmm.
But it's the way you keep power, and only the second player, the squid, can collect it. And after that, you can equalize. Equalizing your power is another key component of the game because if one of you dies, you both die.
Hmm.
So it's within your interest. Like if you have 20 minutes of power more than your partner, um, you split that. And it's not as much of a balancing act as the game would like to think it is. At least not in the early stages. Like once you get actual obstacles that can take significant chunks of health. If you saw our co-op stream, you saw one of those the large sandworms or sea worms or whatever the fuck they were. You know, they hit you. They took about 10, 15 minutes of health. Like, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. But narrative is a big part of the game, and characters. You are not, you are not playing as any sort of cipher or uh, plank of wood. You have an actual character who has an actual name and has an actual personality. You play as Ryan and Sandra, player two. You know,
Sonya.
Sonya. There we go. Sonya. You know, you are engaged in a deep sea aquatic venture. Not so much exploration, but you are actually filming a promo video for all of the new tech you've developed around this fuel source.
Hmm.
And then things go wrong.
Things
And
go very, very wrong.
yeah, and you're tasked to find not just a missing crew member, but to find out what the hell's going on here. And as far as what the hell's going on here, um, it has to do with multiple dimensions,
Because
from what
of
I
course.
understand. Like there are hidden secrets that allude to this, and didn't complete the game because I'll be honest, I lost interest in it, not because of the atmosphere or anything. I was having a control problem
Yeah.
that seemed unique to me, and I checked. It's not my controller. I've played, I played other games to make sure it wasn't my controller, but for whatever reason, I I kept bobbing to the highest point.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, me over here, I'm just kind of, puddling along.
Yeah. Let me tell you, fighting against that after about 30 minutes got tiresome. Literally, my hands were cramping up. So I played till about chapter 7 when things got literally thorny. Like there are a lot of sea thorns here, and then there are these big fish, and I'm just like, can't do this anymore. But in terms of the game itself, yeah, it's pretty decent. Not amazing or anything. Um, it's I can definitely see why there's not a VR mode. Like also the game wants you to play in near total darkness. It's part of the experience. In fact, one of the um, functionalities of the tool you get, and they actually just call it the tool, is the flare, what you use for extra light, and it takes about a minute of health if you fire it off. I turned the gamma all the way up
Hmm.
because guess what? They offered that option. I took it. You know, it's like if you want that to be the proper way, don't include the option. Okay, just future tips for game developers. Yeah, here. Um, yeah, outside of that, the game looks pretty good, but expect a lot of bland environments in the moment-to-moment gameplay, because you are crawling through a lot of tunnels, and tunnels look the same. They probably used a lot of the same textures. Can't confirm that, but it wouldn't surprise me, because, well, that's kind of what nature does. Like, the soundtrack was pretty interesting, actually. All over the place in terms of sometimes it would be melodic, sometimes it would be ambient. It kind of depends on what was going on screen. So I appreciated the dynamicism there. Like, performance. So, not gonna lie, this is the other thing that kind of killed the game for me. This game has some performance issues. Namely, it's got some long load times. And, kind of like, since both Petty Fan and I played the game, we got the same kind of load times.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like, I don't know if the multiplayer is, because I think mine were a little bit better in single player, but like, I don't know if they were trying to synchronize it in multiplayer or what.
It's still a factor. Like, they were long enough to put me off the game. And yeah, the game in general is just high performance. Specs here to get a sense of what we're talking about here. Here we go.
Well, this is what, UE4?
I think so. It looks like a UE4 game. Like, the specs. There's not much in the way here. Processor, dual core, 2.3 gigahertz or better. Memory, 8 gigs of RAM. Graphics, GTX 760 or higher, or AMD R9 270X or higher. DirectX 11 and 13 gigs of space. So, fairly robust, but not super intense or anything. But the actual graphical fidelity of the game and the art direction is pretty on point. Some of the areas look pretty astounding. When they want the game to actually look pretty. Going back to that, you're just going to see a lot of blue rocks a lot of the time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, like some reviews have painted it. That's kind of how real life works.
Yeah, if you went, glacier diving, that's pretty much what you would see.
Yep.
Let's see. Pricing. So, at time of is the sale looks. Hello?
I think you're back.
You
cut out at time of recording.
Yeah, right. At the time of recording, this game is on sale, but the sale is only for like another day. So I don't know who's listening to this now versus who is listening to this in the future, but just at this moment in time, it's $9.99. Regular price is $19.99. If you can pick it up for $10, that's a really good price. I'd say the optimal price. $20 is a little much.
Yeah, especially because this is best played co-op.
Right.
So you'd basically think of whatever you're paying and double it and have a friend.
Yeah. So ultimately, I'd say wait for the next sale. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, this was a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
Just, I think it needed to be optimized better, given the load times. And if there's any way to fix the aiming, by all means do it.
Also the movement. You basically are bobbing around like freaking Super Mario Brothers 1 Mario underwater.
Mhm.
Where you're supposed to have this, super high-tech scuba suit, but your maneuverability is literal ass.
That that is a yeah. It's not the smoothest. Like so, yeah. Any other thoughts on debris here?
It looks very underwater.
All right then. So that'll conclude our review session for this week. Um, yeah. So coming up ahead, yeah, we do have a Tuesday show, and happening this Tuesday, we will be having Phil Elliott from the Square Enix Collective on the program once again. I believe I mentioned on last Wednesday's show. Yeah, we're going to be doing this interview on the launch of Fear Effect Sedna, a game we've spoken extensively to like the developer, but I don't think we've talked to Phil too much about it. Not the only game we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be talking about Octahedron, which releases in a couple weeks. We're going to be talking about Forgotten Anne. We're going to be. We'll see how much we can talk about Fear Effect Reinvented. I'm not sure how much Square Enix or anyone else is talking about that game right now. We'll be talking about the collective in general, see how it's shifted in the past year. Like, for example, I believe they aren't really focusing on Kickstarters anymore, for one example. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff coming there. And on Wednesday, March 7th, um, our good friend John Pickett of Manga Gamer is coming back. Uh, we'll be talking about their latest release, A Kiss for the Petals, Maidens of Michael. It's part of the A Kiss for the Petals series. Really big Yuri visual novel. Maybe like one of the titans of Yuri visual novels. Like, I mean, I've certainly heard of this game series before, and have probably seen some images here and there. But yeah, this is this is actually probably going to be the first one of these I've actually played. Not sure about anyone else here, but yeah. So we'll be talking about this. We'll be talking about the franchise as a whole as best we can. Here's the thing: this looks like it's going to be a pretty meaty visual novel experience, because I know how Manga Gamer sorts out how long their visual novels are by pricing. This visual novel's $35.
Oh, that is a lot.
That says to me, I'm really glad I completed the other game for review next week already, because yeah, this is probably gonna take all the review time this week, if it's as long as I think it is.
Unless this has some like utterly redonkulous production values.
It probably has that as well, but I'm still expecting a long visual novel experience. So with that in mind, until Tuesday, I wish you good gaming.